So today I just wanted to take a quick look at 2002's Secretary. This obviously stars James Spader and Maggie Gyllenhaal, and for very obvious reasons I've been trying to avoid reviewing this film because in my opinion it's a very obvious choice as far as a fetish film. I mean, it definitely does look at various interests. It treats the subject matter very seriously, and it at times happens to be a very funny and engaging movie. It's actually a very cute film. I think it was extremely well executed. So basically the story opens with, it's very much a frame story. So we open up with a woman. She is in a sort of restraint. So she kind of has her arms pillated. So she doesn't have full use or mobility of her arms. And she's kind of going around picking up paperwork, she's making a cup of coffee, and she's dropping these things off to her boss. So obviously she is the secretary. We kind of push back to, I believe if I remember correctly, 2 months prior. So she had been released from an institution, I believe because people misinterpreted her cutting habit as an attempt at suicide. So she had been away for treatment. Upon having been released, she kind of sneaks away during her sister's reception and she cuts herself again. So this is very much a habit with her. So eventually at some point she decides to go off and I guess you could say do something with her life. So she learns, I guess you could say, the secretarial occupation. She applies for a job with a lawyer who is very much a unique character in his own right. So she is very quickly and easily identified as a submissive. He hires her due to that interest, and it really isn't too long before they start exploring in that interest. Obviously at some point in time, just due to, I guess you could say, constantly correcting her for typos and misspellings and whatnot. He has her lean over his desk, has her read the letter multiple times as he spanks her quite roughly. Of course, upon leaving his office, she does notice that her bottom is bruised, and she discovers that this is very much something that is of interest to her. So she basically gets rid of her, I guess you could say, self-mutilation kit, and she picks up this interest of the whole sadomasochistic dynamic. So things are pretty much going pretty fine. There are various plays that you observe throughout the film, obviously pony play being one of them. But she very much cares for him. So in a sense, it's kind of like a chick flick. You know, it's kind of moderated. It's not too extreme a film, but it's definitely very entertaining. So obviously at some point in time he decides that he just kind of wants to back off. He no longer wants to partake in this, and basically fires her, sends her off on her way. She obviously is not too keen on that. And she kind of does try to, I guess you could say, make a life with her fiance. On her wedding day, she pretty much just leaves him at the altar, goes running back to Mr. Lawyer Guy, and pretty much just professes her love. He pretty much just challenges her to sit at his desk. So to not lift her feet off the floor, not lift her hands off the desk, she pretty much has to sit there until he returns for her. So this is very much a test. She refuses to move. Obviously this gains interest of numerous people who come by to visit her. So she's pretty much just refusing to eat. So she basically has been there for 3 days. She hasn't eaten or drank anything. And I guess eventually he just kind of comes to realize that, yeah, she does care about him. So he comes back to collect her, and you know, they go off to live a nice little happy life in their lifestyle. But yeah, I mean, I think it was very well acted. Like I said, I think the material was very well treated. There's very much a great dynamic. What I find interesting about James Spader's character who is also known as Mr. Gray. Yeah, I'm not going there. But I like how you get to the interior of his office and the way it's decorated. It's very cozy. You have a lot of warm colors. It definitely has a very unique look and flair to it. To a degree, it very much reminds me of a boudoir. But yeah, I mean, I definitely enjoy this film. If you haven't seen it, I would recommend taking a look. But that is all I have for you guys today, and I will talk to you later.